last week, Citizen Lab, who are doing all of this research on the Israeli spyware and all these tools, they put out a paper saying that NSO Group, which manufactures Pegasus, had basically been able to exploit iOS 15 and iOS 16 in a multitude of ways. Okay, so again, Pegasus doesn't only target iPhones, but it's primarily geared towards iPhones. And, you know, this tells us already a number of things right off the bat, that Pegasus is still in development, despite all the bad press, and NSO Group is still around despite the bad press, and the stricter export rules, if they're even real. And number two, that they are able to infect both iOS 15 and iOS 16 devices, okay? And now here, this is very important because do you guys remember, I mean, there have been many disappeared people in Mexico, but do you remember a few years ago, there was an entire class, like 43 people who went missing in Mexico? I remember that specific story in mind. And basically, in a lot of these cases, civil society, they accuse the military, the Mexican military, of being involved in some way. And the day that this NGO in Mexico announced they were going to be investigating this, and who they were going to be investigating, the lawyers working there had their iPhones infected on these exact dates of their presentations. Is that a coincidence? No, it's definitely not a coincidence. And the thing here that's very important about this is that Pegasus is now able to exploit multiple facets of iOS. So, you know, basically they go into detail in this paper how it was able to exploit a problem in iMessage and then use that to continue another exploit somewhere else in I think it was the Home app in iOS. Okay, so you know, here they give you background information about the people who have actually been targeted. It's these and they've agreed to make their names known. So again, this is the NGO PRODH, and these two, so Espinosa and Rodriguez, they are both representing victims of military abuses in Mexico. Okay, so these are the people who are infected with Pegasus, and we know that Mexico is a customer of NSO Group. Okay, so the Mexican government, from what it appears, you know, has bought this spyware from Israel and used it against people that are investigating the Mexican military. Now, one way that this happened, one of the targets, so Mr. Aguilera, who's the director, you know, he was infected after Pegasus tried getting it through, getting at its device through text message. This is in 2017. 2016, and they discovered it in 2017. And then in 2022, they're still coming at him. He was infected at least twice via Find My Pawn exploit. Now, these names that are in black, that are in bold and italics on the screen, these are names, they're not the actual names of the exploit. It's just names that the researchers at Citizen Lab have given them because they don't know the real ones. But it's really incredible, right? Basically, this is what happens. They would use the Find My iPhone app, okay? It's suspected, as they say. Then couple that with iMessage. Apologies, a few minutes ago I said it was the other way around, but it's first with Find My iPhone, then with iMessage, and then with the Home app and iMessage. Now, why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because the thing is, Apple, they released something called lockdown mode about a year ago. So if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, it came out with iOS 16, and they released this thing called lockdown mode specifically for people like that who are targeted by Pegasus, who are targeted by this kind of state level spyware. Okay, you have a lot of articles in the press that have come out in the last couple of days as a result of this paper, claiming that, oh my God, lockdown mode in iOS seems to be really working. That is absolutely not. That is not true. No one knows if it actually works. The only thing that happened is that one of these people got a notification as they were being hacked, which, I guess is is common courtesy. No, but that's all we know. The researchers made a simple mock-up that lockdown mode was telling the person that they're being infiltrated through the home app. That's it. And they see underneath, they say that we have seen no recent notifications on lockdown mode, okay? Nor have we seen any evidence of successful upon your home compromise on lockdown mode. Now, given that we have seen no indications that NSO has stopped deploying upon your home, this suggests that NSO may have figured out a way to correct the notification issues, such as by fingerprinting lockdown mode. Additionally, we have not seen any cases of exploitation on iOS version 16.1 and greater, suggesting that this exploit may have been fixed or mitigated around this time. So just let me translate this for you. They're basically saying that they haven't seen any evidence of it. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work. Okay? It's possible that the people who work at NSO Group they realize and they know that the target of this hack will get a notification, and they found a way to fix that. They found a way to hide their traces better. And one thing that is very clear throughout this paper published by Citizen Lab is that NSO Group are getting better and better at hiding their traces. They're not always successful, which is how they're able to identify the hacks in the first place. But they are this is something that you can see from the code. They are trying to do this on purpose to obfuscate that they have hacked these target devices and to get rid of the traces. They're not always successful, but they are trying to do that. And the point here is that you shouldn't blindly trust, lockdown mode to protect your device. So, naturally, mainstream press. I mean, it was just a few tech papers. I think it was PC Magazine and TechCrunch who were reporting on this, and they were saying, they were hailing it as some holy grail. It's not, and the researchers are saying themselves, maybe the Israelis just figured a way to hide it better. We don't know. So I really wanted to talk about this because, for both those reasons, because on the one hand, you have people who think NSO Group is the only one that does this, but really they're the employees there are maybe purposely or not leaving the company and starting other companies just like it. So it becomes a game of whack-a-mole, And then most people have no clue about this, right? I think the only reason most people know about Pegasus is because of Khashoggi. But if that hadn't happened, and it's bound to happen when these things are used to target journalists and civil society, but if it hadn't happened, I don't think most people would know what Pegasus is or what NSO Group is, and they definitely don't know what Quadream is or the other companies that are also Israeli and also selling this spyware to anyone who wants, And I can guarantee you one thing. I talked about this before, but I can guarantee you the countries who buy this from the Israelis are themselves being spied on through whether it's Pegasus or whatever else it is. They have no clue how to run these things. Never mind break down the code and the Israelis. It's complete. You could think of it this way, that it's a two-faceted venture here. On the one hand, you're making money. This is a very, very lucrative industry. These things don't sell for $2 a pop. These are hundreds of millions for all we know. I mean, just from Quadream alone, they were battling with their front group for millions. Okay, what do you think NSO Group is making? So on the one hand, they're making money, and on the other hand, it could be an opportunity for the Israelis to spy on their own customers. Right, their business is literally spying. And that's why they sell these tools, to spy on people. So would you put it past them or past anyone who is selling this software, whether it's the Israelis or the Americans or whoever? I wouldn't.